We're in Las Vegas, but we're not going to be here for long. In a couple of hours, we're renting a camper van and heading out into the Wild West. Wow, it is loud in Vegas. And not really our scene, so I'm pretty excited to be getting out of the city and into our rented camper van. God, and now there's hoovering. Hi, we're Laura and Stu. You'll normally find us aboard our 36-foot sailboat Delfino, which is currently in France. But this week we're flying to the US and swapping boat life for van life in the Wild West. Today we're taking you along with us for our first day of van life. We need to learn all about the van, get ready to head off grid, drive out into the wilderness and find somewhere to sleep for the night. And if you stick around until the end of the video, we'll give you a full tour and a little review of our rented home for the week.
Let's go.
Get off the boat. See you in a couple of weeks, Delphi. Let's go. We've had a couple of hectic travel days. We went from Redon to Nantes on the train, Nantes to London by flight on Sunday, stayed overnight in London Sunday and Monday, and then yesterday morning we flew to Vegas.
So I've been here 24 hours, picking up an RV this morning, which I think is much more our style, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not really a Vegas gal. We had some gin and tonics in a bar last night that cost us $50. So looking forward to getting out and into nature and having our own space.
Yeah, me too. Should be good. Cool RV that we're picking up.
Yeah.
Camper van.
Yeah, if we can ever find it.
But we found the van and the owner Rain showed us how everything works.
So these are all the electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And told us a little bit about her.
I didn't even prepare for this.
Don't worry about it.
A 22-footer Sprinter.
And you built it, you're saying, with somebody else?
Yep.
Cool.
So we built it so that it's more open layout. When you turn the seat down, I mean, you have a mansion.
So, 1,
Yeah.
2.
And in the morning, just give it like 30 to a minute. Like a pro. There's a lot of pressure right now. All right, Stuart.
Nice.
Have fun.
Thank
Have a great
you.
time. Enjoy the national park.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Take care of this beast.
Will do.
All right, guys.
See you,
Take
man.
care.
See ya.
Been a pleasure. Again.
It's just like a boat. What's just happened?
Oh, I just fucking hit my head again. Oh, I hadn't had my sunglasses on, so it was even worse. Actually, I gotta learn. I'm gonna need to like dangle something from there.
Head bump counter 4.
4, yeah. I'm a little bit nervous about this. It's been a while since I drove in the States. I guess I should make sure I know how to like turn my indicators on. Ooh, take that off. Going to drive.
Ooh.
Off we go. So I'm driving on the right-hand side of the road.
We're planning to head off grid for the next few days, so our first stop was the supermarket.
My God, this thing is so long.
It's really long. I don't think this is going to work now.
Here we go, now we're talking. Alright, we got into Whole Foods. Mission 1 success.
We are going to do a reasonable amount of cooking. There aren't a huge amount of restaurants where we're going. Right, let's do this.
We're in a Whole Foods. Laura's in her natural habitat. Look at her hunt her prey. Can I find $10 kombucha? If you want a million different water choices, this is your aisle.
We're on to our 4th aisle of soft drinks.
It's true, I didn't even realize. And there's more liquid death here.
Crazy.
They've got more water. There's another shelf of water. What the Why?
At this point, the novelty of Whole Foods had worn off, and I was starting to get a bit nervous. We had no idea where we'd be sleeping for the night, we had a lot to do before then, and a long way to drive.
You stressing out?
I'm just wondering where we're going to put stuff.
This wasn't a great time for our first visitor to the van to arrive.
Come on. Oh no, he's in.
Oh no!
He's in the van. All right, we'll call him Johnny.
No, go no!
I have no, he's gone behind.
He's on the curtain, he's on the end of the curtain.
How'd you get?
Woo!
Shoe, buddy. He's gone. He's gone.
Oh god. We're still in the parking lot and there's crickets in the van. I'm not happy.
You'll be okay. It'll be all right. I guess maybe you want to figure out where we're actually going to stop on I Overlander as we go.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to end up stopping at the Caleb.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So maybe let's just head that direction and see what happens.
Yep, let's do it.
It's interesting driving this. It's actually more similar to driving the boat than I thought. And one of the things that's exhausting about Delfino is that she's pretty big, at least big for me. And so I'm constantly having to think, when I, particularly in small spaces, think about where all of her corners are. And that is actually a very similar experience in this van. And the other thing is this van's really heavy compared to a car. And so I have to think a lot about accelerating and braking far in advance. Not as far as advanced as in a boat where you don't have brakes, but still it's quite a similar experience in many ways. I'm surprised at how similar it is, to be honest.
So we're trying to work out where the road goes, and I think it goes through this teeny little canyon there. But we shall find out in a minute.
Oh, check out this flag, Laura.
I know, it's massive.
Oh my god.
Honestly, where are we going? Is there a tunnel? That does not look like a wide enough gap in the mountain for an interstate. Wow. This is crazy. Wow.
I'm loving every single moment of this. Well, actually, to be honest, that road back there was pretty intense. But overall, it's amazing. It's like driving on the surface of Mars. It's otherworldly, and the experience of just driving this vehicle is really nice. You know, it's much more relaxed than driving Delfino in some ways, but in other ways, it's much more exciting. So, don't get me wrong, I love sailing. I love the sensation of like setting the boat up well and letting her do the hard work. But this is cool. I'm really enjoying this.
This is really good fun, and it's kind of like the travelling to the place is part of the activity. Like, we had a cool stop at a truck stop, which was much cleaner and nicer than I was expecting. Was offering people showers and things, and now we're driving through this like crazy Martian landscape. We'll see where we end up for the night. Not entirely sure what to expect now, because I think kind of all the images that I had in my head of what this was going to be like, I've just been totally wrong. And I just don't think the camera is doing just the scale of any of this justice. It's crazy. Everything's just so huge.
I had a short list of potential camp spots for the night, but we had no idea whether they'd be full or if we could even get to them because the van isn't 4x4. But luckily, the first one turned out to be a winner.
So our first campsite, pretty good. I was a bit nervous about just like driving off the road and finding somewhere, but we used I Overlander and we actually ended up in pretty much one of the first spots that I found when I was having a look at that app a couple of weeks ago, and it is very nice.
One immediate lesson is that the outside comes into the van very easily. There's so much dust down there already. One thing I'm super glad that we did is we really carefully planned our trip into sections, and for our time in the RV, we very carefully put everything in separate packing cubes. So unpacking into the van was so easy. It was just a question of taking the packing cube and chucking it in there. Some people are very like anti-packing cubes, but personally for this kind of thing, I love it. I'm so tired after driving. It's like a solid 3-hour drive. We're at a beautiful spot now. But if I'd had to sort through my clothes right now and figure out what I wanted right here, it just, I wouldn't have had the energy for it. I barely have the energy to unpack and cook as it is.
So cooking in the van is not hugely different to cooking in the boat. I've actually got a lot more workspace and the gas hob is better. And it doesn't move.
It's pretty great to look out that way. And you've got the view of... I feel more connected to the outside. You'd agree with that?
Yeah.
Might have to do with the temperature. Because it's hot, we want everything open.
Yeah, and it's just much easier to be outside and also much more necessary to be outside.
It is definitely, it's much smaller than the boat.
Yeah.
For one, storage space. Well, that was a pretty successful first day. Good drive, pretty fun.
Very good scenery.
Yeah, a little bit stressful not knowing where we're going to park, but I overlanded us pretty well.
Yeah. We had a great few days exploring Nevada, Utah and Arizona, which you'll see in our next video. But before we go any further, I think we should give you a tour of our rented van, along with our thoughts after we'd been using her for a few days.
This is Sage, our mobile home on wheels for this week. She's a 2012 long wheelbase medium height Sprinter van that's been converted into an amazing adventure vehicle. We're going to be using her to explore some amazing places, including some of America's most beautiful spots. So let's go check her out. So it's a couple of days later. We wanted to film it now so that we had a good sense of the van and how she operated, and we really got to know all of the little quirks. You know, vehicles like this, they have their own personality, and it's really worth bringing that out to you guys so you get a sense for what it's like. She's got these amazing doors that open up, really lets airflow in to the inside of the cab. It's got these bug nets, and it also has this amazing garage storage area, which honestly fits so much stuff. There's a fridge in here, there's shoe storage, an outdoor shower table, a 300 watt inverter, 300 amp hours of lithium battery, which are then charged by 400 watts of solar on the roof. And it's really been great. I mean, we've had no power problems and we've been running everything full blast. Yeah, very well designed. I think this is pretty good inspiration for a camper van in the future. So just like Delfino, she drinks diesel, which we found all over this area. Apparently it can get a little bit difficult in California. Oh, it's locked. Let's start that again. Actually, that's a good example. One of her quirks is that the locking and unlocking system is has its own personality. Sometimes she locks, sometimes she doesn't lock. Driving experience perspective, I mean, I'm used to the UK, so this is a big vehicle for me. I'm sat really high up, so I do have pretty good visibility. She's a bit temperamental to start. She's 12 years old, so her steering's a bit loose. She's automatic, but otherwise, it's been great. She's pretty powerful. Does 70 on the highway, no problem. Yeah. Would drive many more of these Sprinters.
Hey, come on in. So welcome to the inside of Sage. You can see the Sage cabinets where she gets her name from. We've rented her through a company called Outdoorsy, which is like Airbnb, but for vans. And the guy that we rented her from, Rain, did a really lovely handover with us and talked us through some of her quirks. And he was telling us how he built out the van. And it sounds like he lived in here for a little while with his fiance. Where should we start? So we'll start in the kitchen area. So we've got a 2-burner gas stove, which works super well. I've been too scared to use the back stove because somebody who has previously rented this has had it on a bit too hot and has burnt the back. So I've been too scared to touch the back hob. We've just been using the front one, and even the front one works super well. This counter space has been so nice, and the fold up bit on the end. I actually have more counter space in this van than I have on the boat, quite considerably, or at least it feels more usable because the fridge is separate. All of this space becomes usable. I don't have to lift it up to get things in and out. And yeah, cooking in here has been super easy. We have got a lovely big sink full of dishes with one of these spouts that comes off that I would really like on the boat, but we think might be a bit too tall. But it works really well in the van. Under the bed, I think we've got a 25-gallon water jug and a water pump, so that feeds the tank. It's just cold water, but it's been so hot that we haven't really needed hot water, and I haven't missed it. The fridge is under here. It pulls out and loads either from this side or the other side. And it's quite a big fridge. We've had quite a lot of food in there and it seems to have kept it pretty cold. So I've been pleased with that. One of the main reasons why we chose this van was that it has really, really good bug nets. I don't do too well with mosquito bites, as a bug flies at me. And this net comes all the way down and has been super, super helpful for keeping the bugs out. And we've got some on the back as well. So sometimes in the long wheelbase vans, people will install a bathroom or a shower. We don't have either of those, but we do have this nice seating area, which means that both of us can sit here and eat a meal, which we have done occasionally, or that it can be an area for us to work on our laptops, which Stu has needed to do a couple of times on this trip. And this window opens up with a bug screen on it as well. So I was a bit apprehensive about not having a toilet or a shower, but we haven't really missed having a bathroom. Because it's America, there are restrooms literally everywhere. Like, we are, spoiler for the next video, but we're currently visiting the Grand Canyon, and even at the start of the trailhead here, there's toilets literally everywhere. But we have been using almost exclusively long drops for the past kind of 2.5 days. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Vegas and having some actual plumbing. And while I think in future we probably will rent a van with a bathroom to see if we prefer it or if we like this space, because we have quite enjoyed this little seating area. It does give you a lot of extra counter space and surface area to put things when you're cooking, or kind of just dump things when you're kind of coming in and out of the van or packing for a hike. That's the one thing that with this short trip we haven't really figured out how we would do long term. There is an outdoor shower with a little pop-up tent that attaches around the side, and we do have the shower fitting in one of these seats. We haven't been quite desperate enough to give it a go. Right, moving back, we have got an absolute ton of storage back here. All of this side is storage. Again, something that this van benefits from for not having a bathroom is an absolute ton of storage. We're only here for 4 days, so it probably wouldn't have been a problem to put our stuff away anyway, but there is quite a lot of stuff in here from when people, from either previous renters or from when the guys lived in here. So all of this food was here when we arrived, but we've still had enough space to put our food away as well. Right, moving back to the bed. So although the pillows are on this side at the moment, we sleep lengthways, and there are some blankets on there because we got pretty chilly last night. It was 10 degrees when we woke up. The mattress is memory foam, and I think it feels just like a regular sized mattress. It's pretty long and it feels pretty wide. If it says in the listing how wide it exactly is, I'll put it on the screen, but it feels like somewhere in between a double and a king. And it's particularly comfortable because it's actually got slats underneath it, which we don't have on the boat, and apparently most vans don't have. And because of the slats, it's got this cool system where you can lift up either end, so that if you wanted to lie and look out the back, you can lift up both of these sides, and the same thing happens on the back, so you can make like a little sofa area.
What I also like is that you can reach down into the garage area.
Yep.
Which is super handy.
And then lastly, we have a TV that we haven't used and some outlets down here for the inverter.
So a few of the things that I've loved about this van are the windows on either side, complete with bug screens. So we've managed to get really good airflow through. But if I move forward, I want to show you one of the things that has really, really left a lasting impression of van life. I mean, I've loved it, but worth pointing out. So if I stand here, you can see that there's one item that is at head bashing level. And then if I step in, there's actually a second item that is at head bashing level, and a third item that is at head bashing level. It's not been too bad, it's not been too painful, but with boats you stub your toes, but it turns out with vans you hit your head. So we haven't really shown the cab at all because we've thrown all of our rubbish here, but you can swivel this seat, which makes a lovely communal sitting area here, which is really great. So the other thing that this van has, not sure what brand it is, it's some diesel heater. It looks very similar to the one that we've got on Delfino. And I'd imagine in this small space that you could warm it up pretty effectively. Rain actually says that they take this thing skiing and snowboarding in the winter, and given that the thermometer back there shows a low of -10 centigrade, lifetime -10, they've definitely been some cold places with this thing, which is pretty cool.
And that's pretty much it. We've been incredibly comfortable in here. It's been a really good introduction to van life. We are definitely thinking about potential future van trips, and it's making us want to buy a van as well. But that's way in the future. We still have loads of plans for travelling on Delfino for the meantime.
So that's it for part 1 of our van life series.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we visit a big, maybe Grand Canyon and explore more of Arizona and Utah.